some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live?
From Ruffino's on Highland Road, welcome to the Friday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Handgriff along with Max Gotro. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Jimmy Ott on his vacation this week and next. But Chris Massaro will be with us today. Troy Macker with us today. Bruce Marshall with us today. Ronnie Rance with us today. He's got Skip Bertman night coming up this weekend for the Rougarou. And this is the first time I'm going to have a chance to talk to Ronnie about that bet that he made. I need details on the bet that had him out in, I think it was left field for the Super Regional game day.
That was a hot game for sure.
Potentially the hottest game, and I didn't go. I'll be the first. I wimped out, watched the game on TV, but I have heard from a lot of people that have been to literally over 1,000 LSU baseball games that was the hottest one ever. I can't wait to hear what Ronnie's got to say about that. We're here at Ruffino's. If you're watching us on YouTube, you might see a little bit of a different vantage point today. They are in the beginning phases of the renovation of the bar. So if you're coming into Ruffino's today and you usually make your right-hand turn and go into the large bar area where we've been doing the show since 2012, we're not in there. They're working. They're going to be working for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we're going to set up here in one of the banquet rooms. You might see a little bit of a different vantage point from us on YouTube. You may catch Barry, the bartender, in the background. He is taking credits. I think he gets royalties out of this if we run them out. But we're over to your left today if you come into Ruffino's, and it's Restaurant Week, and they are participating in Restaurant Week. Crawfish egg rolls caught my. It's right at the top of the page, right? So I couldn't hardly miss that. Teriyaki beef skewers, the tempura fried cauliflower, bone-in pork chops, redfish roulade, and the braised short ribs are among your Restaurant Week starters here, and the lemon tiramisu, a carrot cake for dessert. Plus, we've got our regular Friday menu that we'll tell you about as well. So we've got plenty going on here at Ruffino's, plenty going on today with the show. Max, this has been a week, man. I mean, we started with this week. I mean, especially for July, but really any time. We start out in the beginning of the week, and we're playing off the aftermath of the Dustin Poirier retirement fight down in New Orleans last week. There was a big deal. The event came off fantastic. It was a really good card. We had that. We had the Saints and every other NFL team coming to camp, and then we just started getting rocked with news. Tyrann Mathieu's retirement, the death of Hulk Hogan, Ozzy Osbourne, and Malcolm Jamal Warner, if you're a child of the 80s like I am. So it's just been a lot of things going on, and there's still plenty of things going on. I wanted to just touch on a few things. It's not a one topic open. So this is what I gleaned in the last 24 hours since we did all those other things. From the end of media days, Big Ten, ACC media days, gleaned from the end of those. I've mostly stayed clear of all of the, I'm going to call it government oversight in the NCAA and all that stuff. I mean, you get bogged down in the legal stuff, but the president issued an executive order yesterday that caught my attention. So this is no particular order. Did you catch Bill Belichick yesterday at ACC Media Days? Okay. Well, here's the number that you need to know that came out of that. 70. The number 70 represents the number of new players on North Carolina's roster. 70. Okay, once upon a time, not once upon a time, last year, you were allowed 85 players total, okay? 70 new players. In the 80s, we called this the death penalty. SMU was the only team that had to turn over more than that. 70 players, 41 transfer portal players, and 29 signees onto North Carolina. You hear about this? You didn't hear about this, did you? No. Hardly anybody did. It didn't make any. I stumbled across the information. I wasn't looking for it. I just happened to find this in the excerpts yesterday. 70 sounded like a lot, right? 2 years ago, we had a conniption fit. When Colorado turned over a huge portion of their roster when Deion Sanders went there, how many players did they turn
54
over?
54 or something?
It was 68.
Okay,
It
wow.
was a lot. I mean, it was a ton, but it was less than what North Carolina's turning over this year. 2 years ago, this was the story in college football. This year, okay, whatever. Now, is that because Bill is Bill and Deion's Deion? I mean, one of these guys has got a handful of, a jewelry box full of rings as a coach, and the other one doesn't. Deion's a good coach. I mean, been saying that. Is he a Belichick level coach? Well, nobody is. But is Deion a good coach? Yes. You don't have to like him. Just look at the records. They got better, okay? Is he an elite coach? I don't know. Is he ever going to have a championship at Colorado? I don't know. But is he a good coach? Has he improved every team that he's come to? Yes. He turned over 68 guys. Everybody had a fit. Belichick turns over 70 guys. Nobody says anything. Now, is it because of who they are? Maybe a little bit. I don't think it's a racial thing. There were a lot of comings and goings for white players and black players at both institutions, so I don't think that that's in play here. I just think we, in a very short period of time as a college football audience, if we're going to use that word, have gotten used to this. I mean, Brian Kelly 3 years ago had to go from, it was 38 guys at the bowl game. They had more than that available to him on the roster, but the number was about 50. He had to turn over 50% of the roster, and we thought that was a lot, and it was. Now, you get a new coach, you've turned over 75 to 80% of your roster in 1 year, and it's not even a story anymore. You read everything. You didn't even see this.
No,
I try to read everything. I didn't see this until this morning. I'm like, really?
I
70
saw
guys?
He was on with SportsCenter while we were on there yesterday, and I'm just reminded of how strange that is that he's coaching at North Carolina. They do have Max Johnson returning, so that is one player that's back from last year. But yeah, I mean, we've seen this in basketball, specifically in the SEC this year, when coaches turn over. Vanderbilt had, I think, one scholarship player return from the previous year. So I think at this point, it's just that we're used to it.
But that's 12 guys, okay?
Sure, but percentage-wise,
percentage-wise, yeah. But this is 70 guys. I mean, that's you're right though. The SEC basketball, we did this at the transfer portal deadline. I think the max number of players coming back for any team in the SEC is 5. And that's at Florida and maybe Missouri, I think it is.
These teams are brand new every year, and that's why you look at some of the top teams in the country right now, what the expectations are. They might not end up being the top teams in the country when all is said and done, but Clemson has a lot coming back. They're like the most in Power 5 in terms of what's coming back, returning production from last season. LSU is very happy with where they are, and they got a lot of transfer portal guys, but they've got a lot of offensive players that are coming back. So that's kind of where we kind of have something to go off of is the teams that look a little bit similar to what they did last year.
Clemson's got the most players returning, period.
Returning production from last
Production,
season.
okay.
Production specifically, yes.
It'd be crazy to schedule them in the opener. Who they play in week 1?
Louisiana State.
Look it up if you would. All right, here's the other thing I got yesterday from the end of media days. In his first public comment since transferring out of Tennessee, Nico
Iamaleava.
Thank you. Said that the driving factor to come back home was his family, and he hopes every Tennessee fan understands that. I laughed out loud when I heard this. Okay, I laughed out loud, and I don't want to laugh at it's a college age kid. I would call them amateurs, but they're not amateurs anymore. The driving factor to come back home was my family. I will call you a liar to your face. Okay, on that. I'm sure he loves his family. I'm sure his family loves him. I know his brother, it transferred out of Arkansas and went back there. But if you try to stage a coup on the eve of the playoffs because you're unhappy with the contract that has been paying you money since you were in high school to go and get, well, I don't know how much more or less it ended up being or what will be by the end of the thing, from a team that's been paying you money since high school and you decide all of a sudden it's not enough for good production, but not like All-American production or Heisman Trophy. Yes, went back to spend more time with the family. Bullspit, okay? First one. I hope every Tennessee fan understands that. I would advise you never to play a football game at the University of Tennessee ever again. It would be quite funny if, and the odds of this are happen are impossible to 1, but if UCLA actually made the college football playoff and Tennessee was hosting a game and he had to go back and play a game in that stadium, I'm sure all 102,000 orange-clad Vol fans would absolutely understand it, right? They're a very forgiving bunch.
They've
SEC
shown it with
football
Lane Kiffin
fans.
before. They're not going to throw anything at you.
Why not just own this? Honestly, and in a year, we may have kids on just say, "Hey, look, I don't have to get out here and put on a show. I don't have to come out here and lie to you and make myself look like the most insincere hypocrite ever." Just say, "Hey, look, NFL guys do it all the time. This is essentially the NFL now. Why did you leave the Broncos to go to the Lions? They pay me more money. Okay, that's what this is."
Yeah, he's
now
going to
he may not have gotten more money, but he was threatening for more money. That was the whole impetus behind the, I'm going to call it a coup. I mean, we saw Tennessee up at Ohio State. They looked like they were into it that particular night. The fans were. The fans took, I won't say they took over the stadium, but they certainly bought more tickets than you would expect to be available at the shoe. And Tennessee went out there like they were playing a preseason game against Austin Peay and got run right out. I mean, the game was over in 15 minutes. You think this had a little bit to do with that? Probably. The Vol fans certainly think that it had something to do with that. So pull my other leg. It plays Jingle Bells, okay? It wasn't about the money, and I just wanted to go home, and you are full of crap.
Yeah, he might be positioning himself in some way just for, he's going to have to answer that question when he's in the combine, the NFL. He doesn't want it to be super awkward. So, look, he's entitled to his own sort of narrative on how this went, but I think we all know how it went down.
I got no problem with players transferring. I don't even have a problem with players transferring because there's another deal on the table if your deal has run out, okay? But if you agree to something, there should be at least some willingness on your part to adhere to the terms of the deal or do it at the appropriate time. There's a transfer portal. You can get in it. You can give your team. You can give some notice, okay? This used to be a big deal in the workforce. You give people 2 weeks' notice, all right, so that they can make some kind of plans to. He didn't do any of that. He wanted more money, and he tried to stage a coup when he thought he had the most leverage, and he ended up going out there.
I'll give Deshaun Foster credit, though, the UCLA head coach. He made a nice callback to his terrible performance last year at the podium. He had a much more, relaxed and comfortable showing this time at Big Ten Media Days.
He actually knew what Media Days was this time.
He did.
Right? Okay.
He mentioned that we are, we're in the Big Ten now. We're in LA. We're proud to be in LA. All those things.
And then this finally, President Trump has directed members of his cabinet to develop a plan in the next 30 days aimed at preserving college sports opportunities and preventing college athletes from becoming professionals. I don't know what that means. It's almost like, you say we have all this food in the world and all these hungry people in the world. Let's get all the food to all the hungry people. Sounds good. Sounds wonderful, okay? But in practicality, it's not there. As with anything the president does, there was swift reaction on both sides. The NCAA is for it. The lawyers for the players are against it. At stake here are antitrust exemptions and the idea of employment for college athletes. I don't know how much further this gets them down. I know that this order mandates that athletic departments that brought in more than $125 million last year has to increase the number of scholarships. Well, LSU's over that number, and they are increasing the number of scholarships. So they're okay with that. There's about 30 to 40 schools that eclipse that mark, and LSU's one of them. This order also calls for the Secretary of Labor and the NLRB to clarify college athletes' employments in a way that will, you ready for this, Max? Maximize the educational benefits and opportunities for all athletes while not necessarily signifying them as employees. I don't know what any of that means. I've been avoiding this stuff. Every now and then I talk to Ross Dellinger, who used to be a sports writer and has spent, I think, the last 2 years of his life somewhere on Capitol Hill trying to figure all this stuff out. But the president gave an order. I don't know. He basically said, this is the way I read it, okay? Maybe I'm oversimplifying this, and I don't understand everything about all of these lawsuits. I followed as closely as I can. I try to stay on top of all this stuff. But basically what Trump said yesterday was go out and fix college football. You got a month.
Yeah, I don't think just
Good luck.
reading the order. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all of this stuff. It just seems like he codified a lot of the things that have already been decided at this point, right? He's saying there are no third-party pay-for-play payments, but you can do NIL stuff. So you can do stuff that is based on your name, image, and likeness, and you can pay players to do that, to represent your car dealership or whatever. That's kind of already understood. The questionable thing is if you just pay for play and you don't get anything back in return, how are you going to enforce that? The NCAA has shown no real leadership there, and that's the lawsuit waiting to happen. So I don't know that this really changed a whole lot other than that it's now an executive order.
When any of these things come down, I find myself asking first, before I go look at anything else, who's for it and who's against it. The NCAA is for it, the lawyers are against it. Do with that what you will. We're here at Ruffino's on Highland Road again. Today's weekly features include the crawfish egg rolls with the port cherry chili sauce, teriyaki beef skewers with the sesame glaze, and the tempura fried cauliflower with the bang bang sauce. I don't know that I've heard bang bang sauce, but it sounds interesting. Let's give that a shot. The bone-in pork chops with the pineapple salsa, redfish roulade, served with corn mock shoe, braised short ribs with the kamichi fried rice and the Asian pickles. And for dessert today, lemon tiramisu along with carrot cake with caramel sauce on the carrot cake. Those are your features today. The part of Restaurant Week here at Ruffino's all the way through Sunday. 3 courses here for $55 there on that tier here at Ruffino's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That Electric Man, BatonRouge.com. Electric work, Charlie, is not a do-it-yourself stuff at home. No. You got to call out a professional. You can call them out anytime. Yeah, they take calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Quality service for installations, lighting, electrical service, you name it, whatever you need. So need a little extra lighting for your office or for your home space? No problem. Guaranteed scheduled appointments. When it came to my house, it was right on the dot. Call ahead of time, 10 minutes later, they are there. Insured, free inspections, and estimates. We're licensed professionals, so you get quality service when we're dealing with anything from child-proof outlets, electrical safety inspections, dedicated computer circuits, or electrical code updates. Electric Man, BatonRouge.com. That's 372-5356, 372-5356, or Electric Man, BatonRouge.com.
Live at lunch.
If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee's the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. My personal favorite, love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff, roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Mitchell Omelet, Cajun hash browns, Big Cheesy Lou, all served up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots, Highland Coffee's and Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU.
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge with fresh, delicious, piping hot, personalized pizza with unmatched speed. Whether you're a downtown worker, a family looking for convenience and value, or an out-of-towner staying at one of the nearby hotels, Town Square Pizza is the spot for you. Try a specialty pizza like the Spanish Town Supreme or custom build your own. Family packs, kids' meals, and salads are available as well. It's hip to be square at Town Square Pizza, downtown facing. What else? Town Square.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Baseball and softball players of all levels get the competitive edge you've been looking for at Total Diamond Performance. Do the same lessons, camps, classes, and clinics used by top college and MLB organizations. Everything from mental performance, in-game video and data analysis to improve pitching, throwing velocity, bat speed, and fielding. Total Diamond Performance is tailored around the individual player to build strength and athleticism while also cleaning up mechanical deficiencies. Matt Mastretta applies what he's learned working in player development with college and MLB teams. Total Diamond Performance, 931-3730. That's 931-3730.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
Now, everybody's been to Louis Cafe by campus.
Yeah,
Heck,
Chris.
it's been around since over 80 years now. We're still doing delicious omelets like the Mitchell, cheesy grits,
Yeah, I just got him on the phone.
Okay.
Browns. We now offer a pickup window. Just call in your order at 346-8221. Give us 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll have it ready for you. Our hours are now 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., 7 days a week. So next time you visit campus, make it a point to stop by and visit an old friend. Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. Right now we're boiling crawfish 7 days a week. Monday through Friday, first batch comes out at 5 p.m. Weekends at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all built from scratch. A kids menu of popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road, near Starring since 1988.
By now you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crown Town Room at Doe's Eat Place. The Crown Town Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze. For the perfect blend of sweet and spicy, you can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Doe's Eat Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. We welcome in our friend Chris Massaro. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. You get a Jimmy Out update for us. Censor it now. We're on the air, but everything okay as far as you know?
Yeah, Jimmy snuck down to my seats yesterday, stole one of my beers out of my bucket, and proceeded to follow us to the restaurant we were at. So we got a lot of full Jimmy yesterday. We got a little lucky at the track too. I was fortunate enough to hit the late super high five in the last race at Del Mar. It was a 3-day carryover. Paid pretty handsomely. I actually we were all in shock of how well it paid. But we're off to a good start this week at Del Mar.
Feel free to send any of those picks in the future that you feel like to us. We're happy to tag along for big wins. We like that kind of stuff. And that sounds like.
Well, Charlie, last week, Genius Jimmy did make it to the winner's circle.
They pay $5.80 to win. I had a little of that. It's we take winners. Anywhere we can get them. So
when I think of Jimmy, that's always what I think of.
Genius Jimmy?
Genius.
You're the one.
Genius.
Okay, I got it. Chris, everybody in the NFL is in camp, so I got some NFL questions I want to run by you, and I want to start with the Chiefs. It might be surprising. I don't know if surprising is the right word, but when you look at the betting odds on the Chiefs, and they are not the favorites to win the NFL title. He's not the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're not the favorites to win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl. And it just seems like they've been entrenched in that spot. But you look a little bit closer, and the question I got for you is the rest of the division catching up to them enough? You've gone from 3 teams in the same division with the Chiefs who had poor coaches to 3 teams that now have elite championship coaches. And the Chiefs' schedule, that first-place schedule, is just hellacious this year. So is this the year Kansas City comes back to the pack and is usurped in the AFC West or in the AFC overall?
Well, I would kind of hope so. I mean, last year, if you remember, some of those games that they won, I mean, particularly that Raiders game on Thanksgiving weekend, I mean, how many miracles did they kind of just pull out of the hat? It seemed to just, I mean, they went 15-2. I mean, you can't really take anything away from them. It's tough to win games in the NFL. But, I mean, some of these situations where it just seemed like at the end of the game, like 4 or 5 things had to go their way, and each game they kept going their way. And I feel like they almost could have been like a 10-7 team last year, almost a 9-8 team, but somehow they're 15-2. I mean, they lose some key offensive linemen this year. Tooney's gone to the Bears, as we talked about last week. You have the question with Rashee Rice, is he going to be suspended? I know Mahomes did his little ESPN or whoever he sat down with on Good Morning Football there, Kay Adams, and he was saying, this is probably the deepest wide receiver room we've ever had. I mean, that is complete nonsense. Kelsey, I'm surprised he even came back. You don't really have the big explosive receiver. I know you have Hollywood Brown. You got to figure a lot of wear and tear, a lot of extra games. They played so many playoff games. They've been in the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl, and every single year of Mahomes' career, it's just a lot of extra games, a lot of wear and tear on the bodies. And I do think they might take a step back because everyone in that division seems to be improved, even the Raiders. So it's not gonna be the simple, we're gonna win the 6 games in the division. And like you mentioned, the schedule is absolutely brutal. There aren't many layup games on that schedule. Not to mention they also have to go to Brazil to kick the season off against the Chargers.
That Raiders game, by the way, Charlie, that was peak NFL conspiracy theorist type stuff right there. The Zebras are in for them. The Chiefs, how do they do this every time?
The Chiefs do induce a lot of emotions for sure. I got to ask you about, specifically the Chargers, Chris, because that's your area. I mean, you're down there. Well, what used to be the San Diego Chargers, but you're still in that part of the world. Look, they threw up on themselves in the playoff game, but I thought they were ahead of schedule for year one under Harbaugh. And I like the moves that they've made in just the off season to bring in a Najee Harris to basically be a tandem back with Amari and Hampton, who was real high on out of North Carolina. And Trey Harris in the second round of the draft, if he can stay healthy, was a terrific player at Ole Miss. So they're giving Herbert some additional weapons. This is a really good offensive line. It's a really good defense. And Harbaugh, I thought, was ahead of schedule a little bit last year. I even saw some training camp footage this week, and Quentin Johnson caught a pass, which is out of the norm for him.
Baby steps.
What kind of jump do you think the Chargers can make this year?
Well, the first game is going to tell us a lot. Can they get off the schneid against the Chiefs? They've had so many close games with them. They always play them tough. I'm just not sure. Are they explosive enough on the outside? They have McConkey. Mike Williams just retired. We know Harbaugh wants to run the ball first and second down anyways and only pass when needed. And I think the pickup of Hampton is going to be he's going to be the bell cow. I wouldn't mind sprinkling a little offensive rookie of the year on him. I know they have Najee Harris, but he had that little incident with the fireworks on 4th of July. Yeah. Hopefully he'll be back. But they want to run the ball. They want to have the dominant play on both lines. I really think it comes down to, can they beat Kansas City the first game, set the tone for the season. They also have a tough schedule. They don't have much of a home field advantage. I go up to the games once in a while. I mean, it's 75% the opposing team. You have some big teams coming in this year. Minnesota's coming in. Pittsburgh's coming in. Those games will be 85% of those teams' fans. I think they're going to step up. But you know what? Like you mentioned, they got their butts kicked in the playoffs, and Herbert just needs to play better. He's shown glimpses of brilliance. We know he has the big arm. We know he has the mobility. But he really has to step up in these big games, and he just hasn't done it yet. And their last 2 playoff appearances have been, the embarrassing loss to Jacksonville, up 4 scores, and then last year just completely blown out by Houston. So, I like Harbaugh. I like the fact that he's going to have a hard-nosed team. They're going to run the football. They're going to have little to no mistakes on the turnover battle, but I'm just not sure how explosive they're going to be on the outside. I mean, this is an NFL now where you got to have big time receivers, and that's another reason why I'm not sure about the Patriots, because they don't have any of these receivers either. Some of these teams have 2 big time receivers on the outside, and McConkey's a really nice player, catches everything, but he's just a little slot guy. You figure after a couple of years in the league, I mean, how much of a beating can the guy take? They got to really step up their game on the outside and see if they can find a deep down the field threat.
Chargers win total 9.5. Chiefs win total 11.5. I might think a little under there.
Yeah, and Chris, they added Mekhi Becton. I always think you mentioned Herbert's got to play better. It does seem like he's always got some sort of nagging injury with his hand or his leg, his ankle, something like that. They've got to keep him healthy because I know a lot of people say, Herbert is kind of a polarizing figure. Is he really that good, or do people just make excuses for him? But he's always dealing with some sort of nagging injury, and if Becton, who had a nice resurgent year with the Eagles last year, maybe he can protect him a little bit because Harbaugh wants to worry about that offensive line.
No, the offensive line is good. And to your point with the hand, he does have like a weird throwing motion. It seems like not as much last year, the year before, he seemed to always get ball. I mean, for a guy 6'5", he gets a lot of balls batted down. Kind of has that low angle of a throw, and he's had a tendency to hit his hand on helmets. That's an easy way for a quarterback to get hurt. And yeah, you're right. He had the injury he caught in the Pittsburgh game last year kind of derailed the season a little bit in the middle part of the year. You're right. He's got to stay upright. They got to run the ball. They got to be a little bit tougher on defense because they weren't too tough on defense in that Texans game. So it's there are a lot of question marks, but I think second year in Harbaugh, they probably should improve a little bit. I'd be on under in Kansas City as well. I mean, I think there's a chance that maybe Kansas City just really takes a step back. Could you see Denver, KC surpassing them? Maybe not, but if they do, you can find Kansas City to miss the playoffs at almost plus 300. I don't think it's that out of the realm of possibility with that schedule.
Mekhi Becton is what I want Trevor Penning to be. I mean, follow me here. High draft pick as a tackle, injuries early in his career, does not work out at tackle, moves inside the guard and becomes a really, really good player as a guard because he had a lot of the same problems that Penning did. Injury problems playing in space. You get him inside in that phone booth. The guy weighs 360 pounds. Penning's not that big, but he's plenty big enough. You move him inside where he doesn't have to move his feet as much, and you get a really good player. I'm hoping that Trevor Penning is anywhere near as good as Becton was after they moved him to guard. Of course, Becton also changed franchises too after he figured out how to play. It'd be the Saints' luck. Penning figures out how to play a guard, and then he goes to Pittsburgh or something. Chris, keep Jimmy in line and have a great weekend, my friend. We always enjoy visiting with you.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a great weekend yourselves. I'll talk to you next week.
Chris Massaro down in San Diego. We're brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors. Look, you're planning your retirement. Know that your situation is unique. There's not another situation exactly like it. That's why it takes a personal touch and a real analysis of where you are as far as your finances go as to what they can do for you. You want to be able to plan your retirement no matter what your age is, no matter what your financial situation is. You can start planning now. And the sooner you do it, the more advantageous it's going to be to you. Let Philip Fontenot and the staff work you through all of the scenarios. Work with you for a plan that's going to be a lifetime plan, that lifetime relationship that you have with them. That's what I have with Coastal Capital Advisors. If you got business partners, legal partners that you want to these conversations that work with you there. Obviously, your tax advisors are going to be involved there as well. Do what I did and talk to the staff at Coastal Capital Advisors, 337-981-1376, or online. It's coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. We'll take a break live at Ruffino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. It's hot. It is very hot. So if it breaks down, something is just not cooling properly, call 480-1000. 480-1000. Service today, every day means same-day service. You'll never sleep hot with you. Call Total Maintenance at 480-1000. Call today. Get service today. We're a factory-authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem products at Total Maintenance. We're authorized dealer for Generac and Cummings generators. Now is the time. We're right on the cusp of storm season, so now's the time to get those generators installed. And we're covering both the Metro Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas, but not compromised in either because we have completely different staffs and offices for both. Breaks down. Call our friends who support the show, 480-1000. 480-1000, Total Maintenance.
Live at lunch.
This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike, so Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor a plan for your family's needs no matter your age or your financial situation. The bottom line is Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you and build a lifetime relationship. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and ocbrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for total maintenance. And Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gates of LSU. Fin Bomb, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee. Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
We're here to examine things that get better with age, like this bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, vintage 1877. Age can make things more valuable, like this Picasso from his Blue Period, 1904. And treasured, like this Roto-Rooter jingle, 1954.
Roto-Rooter jingle?
Just listen to it.
Oh, Roto-Rooter, that's the name. Clean low trebles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
A timeless melody.
Roto-Rooter?
The lithe arrangement.
But it's a clog-busting company.
Wrong there. Roto-Rooter has grown into more than a clog-busting company. They're North America's largest full-service plumber and drain cleaner. And when you need Roto-Rooter, remembering this jingle can be priceless.
Roto-Rooter.
For all of your plumbing and drainage solutions, call Roto-Rooter in Baton Rouge at 925-8710. That's 925-8710.
Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet. Not just one size. These units can be customized for any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers or welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padiella at Workbox a call at 343-4886, 343-4886, and workboxllc.com.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. Three best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
And welcome you back here at Ruffino's. Again, we are in on the left side of the restaurant today as the main bar undergoing renovations, but we got a nice little cozy spot here in the back banquet room. So come on by and see us here for lunch during restaurant week. Troy Macker joins us now. Troy, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Well, you were a little under the weather on Monday, so we missed you. So I wanted to get your reaction to last week's UFC card, the Poirier retirement fight. It was a big crowd down in New Orleans, an electric atmosphere from everybody that I talked to that was there. What did you think of the fight and the card as a whole?
Well, I thought the fight was amazing. It's exactly what we expected, maybe with the exception being, Poirier coming up short and there not being a finish. I think that's exactly the type of fight that you want for a fake title centered around who's the baddest guy on the planet, essentially. I thought that fight is a fight that Poirier could have won, but I think that Holloway, one of his bread and butters is his volume striking, and he, with age, he's been around since he was 20 years old a decade ago, and he's added power and significant strikes to his volume, and I think a lot of his significant strikes, impacted Poirier far more than in previous fights. Even in that last 10 seconds where Max, again pointed to the center of the cage and said, "Let's stand and bang." Poirier tried to stand and bang and had to clinch because he was getting tagged a bit. So I was expecting Poirier to have the size advantage and the strength advantage, but it really, I think some of the punches that Max hit him with, especially in the first, were the difference maker. But just an incredible fight in a fight that even though he loses, the only thing he loses is another L in the loss column. Like, no one thinks of him as a loser after this. Every career loss he has against someone who's held a UFC title. He's arguably one of the two best fighters to ever not win a real title. I think he was a two-time interim champ, but never the true belt. So, regardless of the result, it was an amazing send-off, an amazing fight. The rest of the card, from my betting standpoint, I did terrible. It was absolutely terrible. The Kevin Holland fight, which was long odds, and I was like, yeah, throw it on parlays. He should win pretty easily, minus 530 favorite or something. But that's the problem when you go against, promotional newcomers or younger guys who have a lot to offer and who are really talented. We just don't know a lot about them. And there are some fights on the card this upcoming weekend that are similar scenarios where promotional newcomer, a guy who's fought 3 times on undercards, you don't know a lot about him, and they're fighting a guy who's top of the division, a little bit long in the tooth. And Rodriguez came out and had an incredible fight plan and just starched Kevin Holland bell to bell. So I didn't do too well, but in terms of the cards from a viewing standpoint, it's A+. A to A+ cards, just the types of finishes, the quality of the fight.
You do a great job of covering UFC because you answered the Poirier question I was going to ask, which is about his legacy, before I even asked it. So I'll pivot to another question, which is about New Orleans. It was 10 years between UFC cards in the Crescent City. This one was obviously a special event because of Poirier, and the turnout was phenomenal. But the question is, would New Orleans be able to support a big UFC card that didn't include a local? What do you think it will be a realistic return to New Orleans for UFC?
Yeah, so I think any return to New Orleans will include a local, whether or not New Orleans, but the state at large, because there are several fighters from the state. Will that fighter be in the main event? Probably not. You look at it kind of as a destination like Atlanta. Atlanta does get, a number of pay-per-views every so often. Not a lot of fighters from the Georgia area since, like, Forrest Griffin. But it's a great destination. It's a great place to have an event. Fight fans are there. But, it's kind of on the second tier from the, obviously, Vegas. And then you're talking California, the New Jersey, New York area. And I think what really hurts cities like even Washington, D.C., where I'm from, and New Orleans and Atlanta and a lot of the Houstons of the world and Phoenixes is that they do so many cards overseas now. And they always have, but it's really been shifted to doing far more in the Middle East. Back in the day when I started watching this, in college in the early 2000s, they were going to London or the UK a lot. And now they only go to the UK once or twice. But they're just adding cards and cards and cards in the Middle East. And so there's less. I think there's, even though they're having more events, there's probably a smaller percentage in the U.S. than there used to be because of the relationship they have with Riyadh season and all that stuff over there. But I like having fights in, the non-fight cities like Vegas or L.A. or New York. Because if you can include some local guys, if it's lower main card or headlining prelim, there's people, there are fight fans everywhere. And, there are cities that are known to have really good crowds. when they go to Boston, you don't need guys from Boston. You just need Irish dudes. You could be an Irish dude from Chicago, but if you're Irish, it's going to be loud. When Conor McGregor fought low main card against Diego Brandao 6 or 8 years ago in Boston, it's one of the loudest pops that the UFC has had. So, long story short, I think they'll return. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a year or two. But in that time, there are several, up-and-coming fighters from the greater Louisiana area that I think you could stock a card with, or just, in the South. That's what you can do is, use it as a hub for guys from, like Bryce Mitchell, who's from Mississippi or Arkansas or something. You can get guys from Georgia, and New Orleans is, one of the biggest cities, the most recognizable cities in the South. So have your Southern fighters there. They do that overseas. When they fought in Germany, they have guys from Croatia and Czech Republic and Slovenia fighting on that card because it is central to that location. So I think there are ways for, New Orleans to get another numbered UFC pay-per-view.
Let me switch gears. You're a big Washington Commanders fan and enjoyed that trip to the NFC Championship game, the surprise trip. Jaden Daniels' unbelievable rookie year. Now that they're in camp, and I know that the overriding story is Terry McLaurin's holdout, but there's some significant upgrades there, Troy, especially on that offensive line where they brought in Laramie Tunsil and they used their first-round pick on an offensive lineman from Oregon, Josh Connerly. And, of course, they brought in Deebo Samuel, one of the big moves of the offseason. What's your feeling about the Commanders right now? Their win total is 9.5, just a little bit to the over. But what are your thoughts about Washington as Daniels enters year 2?
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. I'm a brutally pessimistic fan when it comes to the football team for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Having had to sit through the last 30 years of this, but I'd probably be on the under 9.5 for a couple reasons. I think Jaden Daniels is incredible, amazing. Love him already after just 1 year. I don't know if there will be a regression like there was with C.J. Stroud. But, C.J. Stroud had a good year last year. It just wasn't super elite like it was his rookie year. So I think there's going to be some regression. Also, teams are spending their offseason trying to figure out how to stop this guy. There are a lot of things, going into how teams couldn't stop him last year. They didn't pay enough attention. They thought, they could just box him up, but also he can really throw. So I think from him, I just can't expect him to do the same thing. What he did last year was amazing. So there's that. Then there's, the big concern for me is last year they had a terrible schedule. It was great. They played the worst teams in the NFL. They played the Titans, the Browns, the Jets, the Bears. They played so many bad teams, and that was great for them that season. This year they're playing a much harder schedule, and while they have improved at the offensive line, the defensive line obviously just getting Von Miller. They got Javon Kinlaw, who should hopefully be a little bit of an upgrade. So I think that the schedule is also going to impact them, and they haven't made the playoffs back-to-back years since 1991, 1992. So there are reasons for me as a pessimistic fan to think that, they're going to win 7 games at least. I hope they win 11, 12, but I think 9.5 is tough because we still don't know about Terry. And I do think that impacts, a lot of what they can do. They're going to lose in Philadelphia. They could potentially lose in Philadelphia here. While they are better than the Giants, division games are hard. So trying to look at a schedule and say, this game's winnable, this game's winnable. There are games that are winnable, but will they win it? I don't know, because I still have concerns about, the secondary and the running game. The running game was dreadful. So I think they're going to be good. But really, I have no idea if they're going to make the playoffs because of just a lot of factors. I'm still lightly concerned about injuries, but that happens to every team. So it's hard for me to really stake a claim to say I think they're going to go back to the NFC Championship game because I am a brutal pessimist.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're pulling for Jaden Daniels down here, obviously an awful lot. Troy, have a great weekend. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you on Monday. Follow him on X, Troy, Machir. Troy, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Thanks. Have a good weekend.
And we'll take a break here live at Ruffino's where they are celebrating Restaurant Week. 3 courses for $55 here all the way through Sunday. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yes, indeed. Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane. Segan and Perkins, between Perkins and I-10, right across from Ambrosia Bakery. So whatever, like your engine light comes on, bring it on in. Belts, hoses, wheels, tires, general services like AC repair, AC service, undercar services, transmission work, electrical work, electronic, whatever you need on your vehicle, bring it to Jason Payne, because what you want in a mechanic, his auto maintenance work, is a fair deal. You've heard the horror stories of be getting upcharged for unnecessary work. Not the case at K&M Automotive. 8445 Segan Lane, Segan but Perkins, across from Ambrosia Bakery. We're open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Tell Jason you heard me talking about it right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. It's the only place I take my vehicle. K&M Automotive on Segan Lane.
Live at lunch.
Attention vehicle owners, before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life, giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875. That's K&M Automotive, Segan near Perkins.
Get Moss Max and less tax during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and Dip Trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, 4 cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Need more space? Workbox LLC has the storage solutions you can count on. Whether you're a homeowner, commercial contractor, or industrial business, we have the space for you. Our secure, versatile storage units are ready to meet your needs. Contractors, keep your site organized and efficient. Store your materials with us and access them anytime you need. Businesses, industries of any size, Workbox LLC is your trusted partner for flexible, safe storage. Workbox 343-4886 and workboxllc.com.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
The new location of Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Wesley across from Mike Anderson's. Man, the place looks great. Lots of indoor and outdoor seating options with plenty of big TVs to watch all your favorite games. All of the traditional Mexican cuisine with a great happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30, 7 days a week. Plus $5 margaritas all day, all night on Wednesdays. Great spot to bring the baseball team in between games, just 5 minutes north of Traction and 5 minutes south of LSU. Los Reyes Mexican Grill, 1072 West Lee, near Nicholson.
This is Charles Hanger for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
This is Charles Henniger for Home Bank. If you're tired of the impersonal, one-size-fits-all style of banking, you deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for your businesses and families because they go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business and good for life. Stop by any South Louisiana, Houston, or Natchez area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
When it comes to celebrating life, there's no better place than Ruffino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Ruffino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit ruffinosrestaurant.com. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
I love talking about scheduling, but Max, even this one threw me for a loop. Michigan's announced their season opener for next year.
Yeah,
football.
On Three's Brett McMurphy has announced that Michigan will open its 2026 season in Germany. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Going to Germany, and you're playing Western Michigan. An in-state school, you're going to Germany. A 55,000-seat soccer stadium that hosts Eintracht Frankfurt.
I'm trying to expand my global brand to Germany, and I'm going to bring them a rental win.
6 times they've played, these two teams. In-state school. You're going to go all the way across the country, across the pond to face in-state school.
And anybody that goes to this game is going to see a lousy game. This is an idea with some merit. Go play a game in Europe. Play somebody good. My goodness. Hour number 2 at Ruffino, straight ahead, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Baseball and softball players of all levels get the competitive edge you've been looking for at Total Diamond Performance. Do the same lessons, camps, classes, and clinics used by top college and MLB organizations. Everything from mental performance, in-game video and data analysis to improve pitching, throwing velocity, bat speed, and fielding. Total Diamond Performance is tailored around the individual player to build strength and athleticism while also cleaning up mechanical deficiencies. Matt Mastretta applies what he's learned working in player development with college and MLB teams. Total Diamond Performance, 931-3730. That's 931-3730.
This is Charles Henniger. For total maintenance for AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing, Total Maintenance is your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. Service today, every day. That's their slogan at Total Maintenance, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. Over the years, Total Maintenance has expanded into the New Orleans area, as well as their offices in Baton Rouge with full staffs in both markets. Call 480-1000 in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Go Automotive has a great selection of new cars. Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources will help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy Tahoe I drive came from Go Automotive. That's Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine.
If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee's the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. My personal favorite. Love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff, roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Mitchell omelet, Cajun hash browns, Big Cheesy Lou, all served up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots. Highland Coffee's and Louis Cafe just outside the north gates of LSU.
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge with fresh, delicious, piping hot, personalized pizza with unmatched speed. Whether you're a downtown worker, a family looking for convenience and value, or an out-of-towner staying at one of the nearby hotels, Town Square Pizza is the spot for you. Try a specialty pizza like the Spanish Town Supreme or custom build your own. Family packs, kids' meals, and salads are available as well. It's hip to be square at Town Square Pizza, downtown facing. What else? Town Square.
Facing ED or low T can be frustrating, but it doesn't have to hold you back. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers effective treatments starting at $125 a month with no contract. Visit yourgoodwood.com and take control of your health.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana-Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and the cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit ALS.org to learn more. That's ALS.org.
104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
It wasn't hot for them.
He's out there somewhere in the world. Maybe even your local sports book.
Can anybody help us?
Let's bring in Bruce Marshall.
And we do bring in Bruce Marshall here at Ruffino's. It's I don't know where he is in the world, but I bet he wishes he was here because it's Restaurant Week at Ruffino's. 3 courses for $55 on that tier until Sunday. You can have your choice of the crawfish egg rolls with the pork cherry chili sauce, the teriyaki beef skewers with the sesame glaze, or the tempura fried cauliflower with the bang bang sauce. Those are your appetizer features. Second course, the bone-in pork chops with pineapple salsa, redfish roulade, served with corn mok choux, or the braised short ribs with the fried rice and Asian pickles. And dessert, lemon tiramisu or carrot cake with caramel sauce. That is Restaurant Week here at Ruffino's through Sunday. We're in the interim bar with the renovations going on in the main bar here for the next few weeks. We'll be in the interim bar over to the left side of the restaurant. Bruce, good morning wherever you are, or good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I wish I was there with you at Ruffino's, but I'm not sure where I am. I am actually back in Vegas. But since I talked to you last, I was up in Washington. I saw the Nats a couple times. Went up to up to Monmouth Park last Saturday to watch the Haskell. Then down to Charlotte for a couple days of the ACC. And yesterday, one day of the Big Ten, came back to Las Vegas late Wednesday night. And one day of the Big Ten yesterday. So I am about exhausted here. Just going to rest for a couple days.
Never 2 nights in the same spot. You know, we talked at the beginning of the show today about Bill Belichick at ACC Media Days, and I don't know if you were there the day he talked, but they brought in 70 players. 70 players that were not on last year's North Carolina roster. 41 players in the transfer portal and 29 signees. The college football world was aghast 2 years ago when Deion Sanders turned over 68 guys at Colorado, and it made big news. And now, with every bit as high-profile a coach, this was met with kind of a shoulder shrug. Have we gotten this used to this kind of volume turnover this quickly in college football?
Maybe so, Charlie. And unfortunately, I left Charlotte before yesterday, so I missed Dabo and Belichick. Although they run the ACC really well. That was like my favorite day of all in Charlotte. But I think you're probably right. And a couple years ago, we were talking about that, and Deion might have been sort of setting a new precedent there for what he did, and the fact that Colorado made a quick improve from that. Well, they almost had to do it because he inherited such a carcass of a team. But the way the portal has evolved, it's even more a factor now. Other teams are doing it. Yeah, you're right. We do meet this with a shrug. But I'm going over a lot of these teams, previewing them, and there are many in the country that have 0, 1, or 2 starters back, and are just heavily transfer oriented. So I think it's good or bad, I'm not sure what it is, but you're right. I think we do kind of shrug our shoulders when we hear stories like that and all the massive turnover and overhaul of these rosters.
We always used to lean so heavily on returning starters, and we still do, but they might be returning starters from somewhere else, and that's the case here at LSU as well. What else stood out to you, if anything, at ACC Media Days? There was a report yesterday that North Carolina, the latest team that's certainly exploring the possibility of getting out of that league. Didn't work for Clemson and Florida State, though it did change the revenue distribution structure. Anything else you pull out of ACC Media Days?
Well, one thing I did, and I asked a lot of the coaches this when we had a chance to. First of all, the playoff, that was a subject that kept floated 12, 14, 16. That got kind of redundant after a while. What I asked a lot of the coaches, and something that I think should be addressed, is the fact of 2 portals and the fact that the December portal overlaps with the bowl season. And I think has caused irreparable harm to the majority of bowl games And at some point, this just isn't a healthy development for college football. When you've got a school like Marshall that had to back out of its bowl game last year because it didn't have enough players. They all hit the portal, and I know there was circumstance there, the coach left and all, but that can happen any December. And it would be like, college hoops opening up the portal, every March before March Madness is done. I mean, it is just insane. And that the college football mindset is, we've got these institutions like the Bulls, and the first thought is, well, the Bulls are worth keeping and they're good, but, it takes college football a long time to address these things. The couple of guys, Kirk Ferentz and Lincoln Riley yesterday answered this pretty good, and Jake Dickert actually did the other day at the ACC too. But it is very hard to find a one-size-fits-all answer for that dilemma, and they all agree it's a dilemma. But because of the fact they want to get these players enrolled before school begins, and some schools are on quarters, some schools are on semesters, it's very hard to get a one-size-fits-all. They had some interesting suggestions. Lincoln Riley said they've talked about just doing away with spring football and when in pads and on, just doing more of NFL OTA sort of thing, so there's not this mad rush to get the players in there by spring practice. But the answer lies somewhere in the calendar, and they have got to figure out a way, I think. I don't know, having two portals is good, but so there isn't that sort of overlap. And maybe, December is still a pretty barren month, until the end of the month. There's a few weeks in there they could probably play some more games. And I know fans travel to bowls, but I don't think that's that big a deal anymore. They've got to address that at some point because it's fundamentally incompatible to have the portal the same time as the bowls. And there isn't an answer yet. They're kicking it around, which I'm glad to hear, but they don't have any solution to it, at least not yet.
Is there anything to what Dan Lanning at Oregon said, which is to first of all, move everybody back into week 0, which I'm all for, but condensing the playoff format, no matter what it ends up being, into December and ending the college football season as we did forever on New Year's Day? And then your portal problems don't then you can slide the portal back to after New Year's Day, but before the spring semester starts virtually everywhere. Now, this means you're going to play maybe 15 games in 16 or 17 weeks, but does that have any legs?
Yeah, I think it does. I was a guy. Yeah, let's get to that next. Yeah, Lanning. That's the sort of solution I think they're going to have to come to. And you're right, week 0, or maybe push even back a week earlier. Listen, I know that's before a lot of schools get back in session, but they're playing baseball, well into June after a lot of the schools are out for 6-8 weeks, and so there's a way I think they could get around that. But no, I think that is, if there's an eventual solution to it, it's going to be something like that, where they're going to have to manipulate the calendar a little bit differently to accommodate these things. And this bowl institution, which I really wonder if it's going to continue to, how it can continue to survive the way it is, but it has a better chance if they make that sort of move. I'm glad to hear some creative ideas like that from Lanning, because I think that the solution is just in how they alter the calendar, and eventually that'll be a solution, but I'm not sure they can get everybody to agree. That's always a hard thing in college football.
Oh, they can't agree that today is Friday. I heard another one out of the, and I'm trying to remember which media day it was, that they believe that a TV contract that was all-inclusive of all of the conferences would be more lucrative to everybody. And I'm like, good luck getting the Big Ten and the SEC to agree with anything that involves anything other than complete autonomy over their television deals. They're not going to give at all in that. So it's pie in the sky type of idea, but keep throwing them out there. Eventually we'll come to something that works. Let me ask you a football question. The ACC just finished their media days. The SEC the week before. ESPN did a deal on draft prospects at every position. Today they debated Cade Klubnik against Garrett Nussmeier, which we're going to get to see in week number 1. I'd like an opinion from outside of this market because I know what everybody here thinks as far as those two quarterbacks. You put eyes on both of these guys. Who do you think's better?
Kind of a coin flip. I like them both a lot. I thought, we didn't get to see a lot of Nussmeier before last year, but what we saw was very impressive. What I liked about Klubnik last year, I think he expanded his game a little bit more because he's got a little bit of mobility. And Dabo was even talking about that. He had to sort of encourage him to use that a bit more, and he did last year, and his stats were really good. But I think it's kind of a coin flip between those two. I think they both have a real shot. And one other note about the draft. I mean, you look at that board. I mean, Clemson, they might have, these projections now, they don't always hold in the next April. They get, 3 guys projected in the top 5. Some have Klubnik going number 1. So Dabo, this looks like the most loaded roster Dabo's had in a while. 5 Clemson guys projected in the first round. So they're justifiably excited there in Death Valley.
Max has been leading the charge here. All summer he's been reminding everybody how good Clemson is, how good their roster is. Max, this has been your selling point since the college baseball season is. Don't sleep on, not that we would sleep on Clemson, but they're really, really good.
This is not the Clemson of the last few years. This is a completely different team that has a lot of next-level guys on their team, a lot of returning starters. I think this could be the best team on LSU's regular season schedule. I certainly think that's the case for their defensive front and maybe even their defense.
Bruce, he's been the wet blanket all season, all summer, because all the LSU fans think that LSU is just going to go in there and rout Clemson. No, I'm just kidding. But it does take some starch out of the argument that if you go back and look at Clemson's schedule last year, the number of what you would call good teams that they beat is pretty small. It's SMU and a middle of the road Pitt team. So
got road race in the opener against Georgia.
Yeah.
Killed.
So when you look at that, you say, well, okay, last year's team, but this is not last year's team. Do you think Clemson is appreciably better than they were a year ago?
I'm not sure of that, and I it's still most of the same players that were. That was not a great team last year. It was a good team. It wasn't great. I think there's a chance they could lose 2 of their first 3 games. They could certainly lose to LSU in the opener and Georgia Tech 2 weeks later. I'll tell you what, don't sleep on Georgia Tech. Brent Key was one of the favorite guys that I talked to the last few days. Very no-nonsense, very interesting guy, and I think Georgia Tech could be very, very difficult. That game is in Atlanta, I think. So Clemson's got a little bit tough. And I was also thinking, the Clemson-LSU game, which side is that more important for? And I keep kind of going back and forth. The bottom line, though, is I think it's a little more important for LSU as far as getting an at-large berth because there are more chances to lose games in the SEC. But the fact is, no matter what happens in that game, both teams are still going to have a shot to get to the playoff no matter what. They can win their conferences and or get to the conference title game in each league, and they have a good shot to win the final 12. But they will both have a shot to get there no matter what happens in that opening game that first weekend.
One baseball question before we let you go, because I know everybody out there, hey, if you're riding around listening to it, you don't follow a lot of Major League Baseball. Who's got the best record in baseball right now? Max?
Milwaukee.
I know you know. Around here, we're not.
Felt like Detroit, but they're going down the tubes.
We're not glued into Major League Baseball around here. Other than some people have favorite teams like the Astros or whatever, or the Cubs. But the Milwaukee Brewers have the best record in baseball. Bruce, we're approaching the trade deadline. That's next week. Is there something you're looking for that has got an angle to it, a theme, as we get into the last 2 months of MLB?
Yeah, I know. By the way, the Tigers are now the 3rd team in the American League. Toronto has now got the best record in the American League, if you can believe that. And Houston second, and then Detroit. And the wheels have come off for Detroit, and it's a little bit worrying. So let's see what goes on with them. Detroit will be interesting. I think they've got a hole at third base there. I mean, Suarez is out there from Arizona. I think they've got to be aggressive here because you know what? Skubal, after he becomes a free agent after next year, he's a Scott Boras client, and Detroit's window is like now. They better be aggressive. The team you want to watch, there's a couple. Arizona might be open for business now. They shipped Justin Naylor out yesterday. Of course, we've got some other guys like Suarez there who could move. So it looks like they're in business here now, and they could be involved in some big trades. I would also watch Pittsburgh because I think both Bailey Falder and Mitch Keller are pitchers who can help somebody. And pitching is in great demand right now. And a team like the Yankees they got a couple of starters down now. That pitching is in short supply, and Pittsburgh could net a nice haul if it moves off from these guys who've been on their roster for a long time. So I'd keep an eye on those two teams as well as sellers in the next week.
Well, when you say Pittsburgh, we think of we think of Skeens, and they finally, the last couple of games, actually scored a few runs for him, but not much. It's been a hard time for him to get. He got one win in the last 2 months and an ERA of 1 point. Lost on stats here, but 1 point something. He's got one win. They finally scored a few runs for him in the last game against Detroit. Bruce, we always appreciate your time. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Okay, Charlie, have a good week. Thank you.
Bruce Marshall with us every Friday. We're brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff, for our family over the years, not just me and my wife, but a number of others, whether you got back problems, neck problems, things that are hurting you, things that are flaring up from old injuries, or maybe you're just getting a little bit older and things hurt that didn't used to hurt. Let them get you into a program that's going to help you out. I know when my back was flaring up, they did a great job of getting me some things that I could do on my own that they taught me as far as exercises and stretches to get some things loose. But if you do need a nerve stimulation or a dry needle, cryotherapy, ultrasound therapy, they'll pinpoint those problem areas and they will get you to feeling better. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway, near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Restaurant Week here at Ruffino's. The $55 three-course menu available here at Ruffino's through Sunday. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get every time you call 296-0060. Ashley Bonham-Donald, Mariana Broussard-Haynes, Adrian Reese-Galata, Michael Platt, and Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses you but you. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at lunch.
This is Charles Hanger for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Contact Keith Meir, Nicole Glover, Thunder Creed, David Campbell, or David Henry to discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 60 years. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Go Automotive has a great selection of new cars. Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources will help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy Tahoe I drive came from Go Automotive. That's Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee's the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. My personal favorite. Love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff, roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Mitchell omelet, Cajun hash brown.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots, Highland Coffees and Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Text Morris on Jefferson, Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Continuing here at Ruffino's, it's Restaurant Week, 3 courses for $55 here at Ruffino's. That goes all the way through Sunday. Tomorrow night at Pete Goolsby Field will be Skip Bertman night as the Baton Rouge Rougarou take on the Victoria Generals. Ronnie Rance, owner of the team, will be out there, and he joins us right now. Jumbo, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Charlie. Thanks for having me, buddy.
I want to hear all about what you got planned for tomorrow night, but I haven't talked to you since college baseball ended. I've been dying to ask you about this. So tell me about this bet for the Super Regional and you out in the sun. Because I heard about this on social media, but when somebody told me about it, they said they bet Ronnie Rance he couldn't stand for 3.5 hours in the sun, and I said this has got Joel Davis's name written all over it. This had to originate from him, but I don't know if that's the case or not. Tell me about what happened with this deal.
Well, first off, I can see where you would think the bet would originate from Joel Davis, my partner on Sports Shorts Radio, but he's too cheap to bet any real money, so it didn't come from Joel. But what happened was I think it was, I don't know, whatever the first game, second game of the West Virginia series, it was like a 1 o'clock start.
Yeah.
You know, it was in the heat of the day, 100 degrees and sun shining. You know, it's one of those typical regional type days. And when they should never be playing a day game at the box. And so we're in the suite. It's the top of the second inning, and I'm in the Southern Regional Medical Center suite, Charles Harvey and Jason Ramazan and those guys. And in there is B.G. Langwan, Casey McKenzie, and all these guys. And somebody says, I don't remember who, man, look out there in left field, how hot it is, and just the sun's baking. It's 100 degrees, 100% humidity. And somebody said, man, how much would they have to pay you to leave this nice, comfortable, air-conditioned suite with all the food and drink in the shade to go sit out there in the outfield for the whole rest of the game? And all these guys are throwing out ridiculous numbers, 5,000, 2,000, you know, whatever. And I got me to thinking, Charlie. I'm like, wait a minute. I've spent a lot of nights at the Goldsby. You know, I've been at Goldsby Field pulling tarps. Like, I'm thinking to myself, I think I could do that. I could go out there with Craig and all the people, all the big left field lunatics. And so I'm like, I'll tell you what, guys, $500. I go out there right now, leave the suite. They said you can only get 2 drinks and 1 bathroom break. You got to stay till the bottom of the 9th. And they start passing the hat, Coach, and they put $500 in the hat. So I immediately leave the suite, go out to left field. I'm sitting out there in left field against the fence. Yes, it's
Africa hot. Those are the true fans. They're warriors. They should get something free every game for being out there and after May 15th in the sun. And so I'm getting blown up on text messages. And finally, about the bottom of the 6th or something like that, top of the 7th, I get a text from the boys up in the suite, and they said, all right, you win. How about this? We'll buy you out at $300. You can come back in the suite. And I said, done. So I left and went back in the suite.
That's how the thing gets twisted, because I thought this came up on Saturday morning on Sports Shorts, and I'm like, this sounds like something that Davis would throw out there, and Casey McKenzie would run with on social media. So I'm glad I got the true story. But that's the hottest I can imagine that a baseball game has ever been. I heard Chris Guillotte, of all people, who's been at probably every game since Skip was in his, I don't know, second or third year, that this was the hottest day ever. And I wasn't there that day, but I don't live that far from there. Got to be one of the hottest baseball games ever.
This is
in
how
Baton
hot
Rouge.
it was, Charlie. And it actually, in full honesty, it wasn't as hot in left field as it was if you had the standing room only seats where you were in the concourse with no airflow. Like, it was so sticky there. Much better in left where there was a little bit of airflow. There were people, when you went underneath at Alex Box Stadium, where like the Wally Pontiff Hall of Fame is, there's a concourse that runs along the bottom all the way to like the front gate to the baseball office. There were people sitting shoulder to shoulder on the ground against the wall watching the game underneath on the TVs that are in the concourse, because it was that hot. They just didn't want to be out in the sun.
I can understand that, and I can remember the regionals back at the old box that were closer to Memorial Day before they changed the schedule and everything, just thinking it cannot get any hotter than this, but almost all of those games were at night. There were some that were during the day. You get the marble game in the old 16 regionals was in the morning, but
11 a.m. start.
Yeah, on Saturdays. But everything else was pretty much at night for the first couple of nights. And man, it was just a scorcher. So kudos to you for picking up a little extra cash. I would have probably stayed where I was. All right, let's talk about what we got going on tomorrow night for Skip Bertman. He's going to be out as the Rougarou take on the Victoria Generals, but it's a chance to get some autographs, take some pictures. He's going to be signing books and taking pictures. And then his grandson, Ezra, is going to be throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah, really cool story. Of course, for those that don't know, the Baton Rouge Rougarou is a Texas Collegiate League baseball team, so think minor league baseball, but with college players. And we got college players from JUCO all the way to LSU and everywhere in between. And we're having a really good year. We're 35-9. We've clinched first place in overall for the playoffs. And if we take care of business next week, 2 out of 3 against the Acadiana Cane Cutters, we'll be hosting the championship game Saturday, August 2nd at P. Goldsby Field. But before that, we got a couple of regular season games left. Tomorrow night is Skip Bertman night, and what that means is from 6 to 7 p.m., he'll be signing autographs and taking pictures and signing his books. You get the book Everything Matters, and then you get the picture and the autograph. He'll be under a tent behind the third base dugout. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to bring him onto the field. We got a golf cart going to take him onto the field by home plate, and some of his former players and coaches are going to be there. We're going to honor any former players as well on the field, and we're going to do a special presentation to Coach Bertman. A little surprise he doesn't know about that we have for him, Charlie, that will be a permanent thing at our ballpark honoring Coach Bertman. We're excited about that, and then obviously he's going to stick around and watch his grandson, Ezra Pate, pitch, who's been playing for us all summer. His grandson's at a Division III college in Maine, grew up on the East Coast, been living with Coach all summer, so really cool. Obviously, after the loss of his wife, Sandy, a few months ago, really neat to have his grandson living with him, and Ezra wants to be a coach, so he gets a chance to spend a few months. He's been working the LSU baseball camps for Jay Johnson this summer while he plays for the Rougarou, and he gets a chance to be with his grandfather. So it's an excellent story. It's going to be a very special night, and Coach is very approachable, and obviously, we'll take pictures and sign autographs between 6 and 7 at the ball game.
It's going to be a terrific night, I know. Hey, can I ask you what you've learned? I want to say this is your 4th season as the owner of the team. You've been all around baseball all your life. So what this league, this level of baseball, what have you learned? What have you taken from? I believe I got that right. Is this your fourth year as the owner? Fourth season?
Yeah, fourth year as the owner. Correct. I would say, Charlie, that we were fortunate to put a good core together. It helps when you have some guys that have played in your organization a year prior. And also this, our season started June 3rd. Our regular season ends July 27th. We play 48 games in that period of time. And then there's 1 week of playoffs. So you play 9 straight weeks. And it's hard for human beings, not just 21-year-old kids or 20-year-old kids, to focus for 8 or 9 weeks, right? That's the hardest thing to do. And so we've been fortunate. We got a good group. We probably are going to end up with about 15, 16 of our players play from the first game to the last game. And as you know, who's covered our games in the past, that's rare. You know, it's rare because there's so much transition in and out. I mean, there's been some years where we've had 50, 55 players wear our uniform for a 30-man roster. Well, this year we're going to be around 40. So that's the continuity, and we've done a really good job of recruiting pitching. Like we're carrying 18 pitchers on our team versus 14 or 15, and that the extra depth and the quality of the pitching is why we've had such a good year.
Skip Bertman night tomorrow night at Pete Goolsby Field. The first pitch of the game is at 7 o'clock. Ronnie, good luck to you guys down the stretch. Hope you can bring it home, and looking forward to a good night tomorrow night. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Charlie.
All right, Ronnie Ranson, the Baton Rouge Rougarou. Skip Bertman night tomorrow night at Pete Goolsby Field. We're brought to you by the Thibodaux Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Finishing up those as we wind down the summer, some of those home improvement projects, maybe on your patio, maybe in your backyard. Get to the Thibodaux Store. Let them outfit you not only with the supplies you need, but with the expertise. It'll save you a little bit of money. Not have to hire a contractor or a handyman for some of these smaller jobs. They'll walk you through step by step. It's what separates them from the big box stores, that little bit extra that's going to save you with those projects. Hand tools, power tools. If you need lumber, you can get that at their sister property, the Pierre Part Store. Delivery available there. And, of course, if you're getting those patios together, you're going to need a grill. Lots of grills that are on special right now. The deal of the week from Do It Best is a Char-Broil 36-inch propane gas griddles, as well as tons of crawfish pots, jambalaya pots, and big green egg cookers are available too at the Thibodaux Store. Open daily until 5:30, 900 St. Patrick Highway. Online, it's thethibodauxstore.com. We even got you hooked up if you happen to miss the Thibodaux Store and the Pierre Part Store. We'll get an update from what happened at Saints Camp, day 3 of practice. We'll do that when we come back here live at Ruffino's Restaurant Week, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Oh, don't forget our friends over here, Workbox and Workbox Services, my buddy Martin Padial, and expanding. That's right, their newest location at Workbox. And the second office, which extends our coverage all the way down to the Gulf Coast, through New Orleans and Baton Rouge, all the way to Lake Charles. Of course, shipping containers of all sizes, you name it, for residential or commercial use as well. 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, 8x40 feet, you name it. You want to... Want a tool storage container for your job site? No problem. Custom lunchroom? No problem. Customize it, part office, part storage, dual purpose? No problem. Custom safety storage near the plant? No problem. Our great staff, Martine Sr., Martine Jr., Hannah, Brandy, and Chris. Workbox and Workbox Services, 343-4886 and WorkboxLLC.com.
Live at lunch.
The Grand Bayou Casino, conveniently located off I-10 at exit 139 in Crow's Head, offers the latest video poker machines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Got a great staff at the Grand Bayou Casino. Our inviting staff will greet you with complimentary coffee and sodas as you enjoy listening to the curated tunes in our comfortable seating. Make the trip to Grand Bayou Casino, where players are welcome. The Grand Bayou Casino, I-10 at the Crow's Head exit. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-877-770-STOP. The Grand Bayou Casino.
This is Charles Henniger for Coastal Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike, so Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor a plan for your family's needs, no matter your age or your financial situation. The bottom line is Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you and build a lifetime relationship. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Baseball and softball players of all levels get the competitive edge you've been looking for at Total Diamond Performance. Do the same lessons, camps, classes, and clinics used by top college and MLB organizations. Everything from mental performance, in-game video and data analysis to improve pitching, throwing velocity, bat speed, and fielding. Total Diamond Performance is tailored around the individual player to build strength and athleticism while also cleaning up mechanical deficiencies. Matt Mastretta applies what he's learned working in player development with college and MLB teams. Total Diamond Performance, 931-3730. That's 931-3730.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports, and it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions, just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and OCBrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance and Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gates of LSU. Fin Bomb, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee.
You've heard me talk about Workbox services and how they can handle all of your movable storage needs for both commercial and residential. With our shipping containers of all sizes, customized in any way that you need or desire. Now Martin Padial has expanded his coverage outside the Baton Rouge area. Workbox can now service the Gulf Coast and New Orleans areas all the way to Lake Charles. Our staff at Workbox continues to grow with Hannah, Martin Jr., Brandy, and Chris. Do like I did when I needed a movable storage unit. Call Workbox at 343-4886 or workboxllc.com.
Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. Right now we're boiling crawfish 7 days a week, Monday through Friday. First batch comes out at 5 p.m., weekends at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all built from scratch. Our kids' menu and popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road, near Starring since 1988.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We return here at Ruffino's, where it is Restaurant Week. 3 courses for $55 with multiple appetizers, entrees, and desserts to choose from. That's going on all the way through Sunday here at Ruffino's. All right, day 3 of practice, Max, down in Metairie. What's going on at St. It got a little rain this morning, but it was like a cooling rain. It was welcome, not the type of rain that shuts practice down. So what's going on today?
Yeah, Ronnie probably would have taken that little rain shower they got there this
He might have made it all the way to the end.
Yeah, he might have.
To buy him out.
Jake Hayner got some first-team reps today in walkthrough. It just letting him rotate a little bit, get some first-team touches. I don't expect that means he's part of this starting quarterback conversation at all. I think he's like 25-1 on DraftKings to be the starting quarterback this year. I personally, Charlie, I'd rather see Hunter Deckers make the team over Jake Hayner, and that's not saying that Hunter Deckers will be better than Jake Hayner as an NFL player, but Hunter Deckers is a rookie out of Iowa State, missed a year after being banned for gambling in college. And I just know who Jake Haener is at this point. I think we've seen him enough at this point. But hey, the new staff gets a chance to look at him, so he got some first-team reps today.
Haener was interesting because he had that big Senior Bowl week, and everybody was high on him. I haven't seen anything there that would make me turn my head. He had the one little the off-the-field snafu, but I think he's probably just a camp arm at this point. I don't know that I feel any differently about Deckers. I'll take a look. Early in camp, you're trying to pace everybody as best as you can. It doesn't look like Moore's not, at least early, it doesn't look like he's going to be one of those guys that has these long, drawn-out practices. So whatever he wants to do, it's just a two-man race. And honestly, unless Spencer Rattler, I think he's playing from behind. I think he would have to do more to unseat Shook than the other way around, even though Rattler's been there for another year. Maybe that's not fair, but I think I think Shook would have to lose the job. They're not positioning it like that, but that's how I feel about it. But
for what it's worth, Nick Underhill reported it was a better day of practice for the offense. I know yesterday he said they were a little shaky, but he said Rattler looked very good, especially in second team period and 7-on-7. So, look, I kind of think there is a spot here for Rattler. I'm high on both these guys, or I don't say high as in like they're going to be like great NFL starters, but I think Shook and Rattler have some real potential, even after what we saw out of Rattler last year. I think it actually makes some sense, and I don't think they're going to do this, but to start Rattler at the beginning of the year, let Shook just continue to grow and develop, because the start of the schedule is the hardest part, especially when you look at the defenses. The Saints' schedule is a little bit front-loaded. Toward the back end, it gets a little easier. So if you want to kind of baby Shook into the NFL in some sort of way, I know there's no easy game in the NFL, but that's probably one way you could go about it, is let Rattler start the season. But it is worth noting that apparently he looked good, hit Mason Tipton for a big play, and Mason Tipton's gotten a lot of love here so far in camp. He's had a pretty good day and a pretty good tenure so far in Saints training camp.
I read this morning from J.J. Watt, who is retired now, of course, but I thought he put it better. I've sort of said this for years when in regard to spring football at colleges, which is that the coaching staff scripts everything, okay? So they can script it. I used to accuse Les Miles of just reading stats off that he had made up from scrimmages that we never got to see. Everything is scripted. This is what Watt wrote today on X. He says, training camp stats are insane. You have no idea what the purpose of that period is. It could be strictly a third and long blitz period where every play is skewed to the defensive advantage. Coaches could be asking the quarterback to focus significantly on one route concepts. The defensive line may just be focusing on bull rushes one day or speed rushes for one period. Practice is for practice. You're supposed to fail. You're supposed to try new things and see what works. If you don't, you'll never grow. The point of training camp is to build and grow towards the season so that you perform your best when the season starts. And so that's what I've always thought. You can go out to practice, and I think you can glean some things. I think you can see what kind of shape the team is in. I think you can see some one-on-one matchups that make a lot of sense. But always take this with the idea that the coaches, and only the coaches, know what they're trying to accomplish in some of these periods, and it's real easy to take one period or one drill and form an opinion based on that, when the purpose of it may have been we may have periods in this camp where the quarterbacks look absolutely terrible. Why? Well, because that was the day that the coaches picked to throw more at them, knowing that they are going to. This is more than you can handle. This is an extra defensive back out there almost. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about all this stuff. Progress is fine. What they look like is good, but keep that in mind that all of this is scripted. They know exactly what they want to see in these practices.
And look, coaches will tell you this is the best this guy's come into camp. He's in great shape. This guy's playing great. You
Sure, because
take
if
that
he
with a
comes
grain of
out and
salt.
says, "Man, look, this guy looks terrible," well, then what?
And don't forget, we heard reports about Jamar Chase in his rookie season. Dropped balls like crazy, wasn't. And oh no, did the Bengals make a mistake here? I think they've been just fine.
Yeah, and that I remember that camp, and I don't know. Between Jimmy and I might have said it 100 times. He missed a whole year. Chase was a whole year out of live action football. Yes, there's going to. I think Micah Parsons also skipped the COVID year and turned out to be just fine. So, like I said, I used to accuse Les. The first stat, whatever the stats for the first scrimmage were, they were going to be reversed. If the offense looked good, then the second scrimmage, the defense was going to look good, and vice versa. That's what you got to remember in camp. This is what camp is for. So.
Couple other news and notes. Noah Fant, the tight end, free agent after being released by the Seahawks. He is visiting today, Kellen Moore said. The Saints have a position of need there at tight end just because of injury with Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau currently dealing with injuries. That was something that came up pretty quickly. A lot of speculation about maybe the Saints targeting Fant just once he got released. In Seattle, he's been a little bit out of it. Drafted in 2019 out of Iowa. Last year, he caught 48 balls for 500 yards and a touchdown. So not a huge surprise there, but he will visit after visiting with the Bengals yesterday.
What was his numbers?
500 receiving yards and a touchdown in 48 catches.
48 catches. 500 yards exactly?
Exactly.
And one touchdown.
Yes.
Okay. Here's why I'm asking. Juwan Johnson, who they gave this ridiculous contract to, caught 50 balls last year, 548 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's Fant's numbers.
Yeah.
Fant got cut. Juwan Johnson got a multi-year contract for stupid money. This is you took one small practice report and you managed to make me mad, okay? Because this is what drives me crazy about Mickey Loomis. Is why. And I heard, well, his production matched the contract. No, it didn't. Guys with those numbers are getting cut. These are mediocre numbers. They're journeyman numbers. They're guys you had in training camp numbers, and yet the Saints said, oh, we got Juwan Johnson. We need to give him this ridiculous contract. No. You give the ridiculous contracts to guys that put up ridiculous numbers. Johnson put up numbers that got another. Fant got cut.
Yes.
He got cut. Okay. Yeah. These are numbers that get you cut. How old is Fant?
Fant is now 27.
He's 27. Juwan Johnson is 28. Okay? They're bringing in the same guy, except the guy they got in camp they paid stupid money to. Fant's going to be in on a guy that was cut contract, okay? I don't know if it's going to be minimum, but it's not going to be a ton. Are there teams clamoring up and down the schedule for Noah Fant? He's a nice player, but they gave ridiculous money.
Fant's averaged way more than Juwan Johnson in his 5 years.
If
you look at their careers, Fant's had the better career.
When you ask questions about Mickey Loomis's ability to evaluate talent and award contracts on that basis, give him this. Because if they do sign Fant, look at what he's going to make compared to what Johnson's going to make. They're the same age. They put up the same numbers last year. The Seahawks cut him. Seahawks cut him, okay? The Seahawks think of that production as somebody who should be cut. The Saints think of that as production as somebody you should give a long-term contract to. Drives me absolutely bananas.
Charlie, let me bring you back a little bit.
Please.
Juwan Johnson, speaking of which,
Yeah.
he said the vibes with the Saints team are akin to what he felt when the team was 5-2 back in 2021, right when Jameis Winston's injury happened in that Tampa Bay game. So vibes are high, apparently. The Saints, there's little
leading the league in vibes.
Little expectation, but the vibes are good. The veterans are happy with where things stand, so at least the team feels like they're in a good spot. And
I bet Johnson does feel good. He put up those numbers and he got that contract.
Sure, Charlie, that does mean something, though, because we were critical of Dennis Allen and Derek Carr in the locker room that they had. Maybe there's something that at least they've turned a corner on that sense.
I am interested in culture, okay? I am interested in what vibe, if you want to use that word. I am interested in what Kellen Moore is changing, okay? So I'm glad they're in a good mood. I mean, you're on day 3. You should be in a good mood. I just had to, when they brought – and look, I hope they signed Fant. He's a good player. They need a tight end. They don't know when Taysom Hill is going to be back. They don't know, how the thing with Foster Moore doesn't seem as serious, but he's not on the practice field right now. So, yeah, you want to go sign a tight end, that's fine. Just don't sign him to a long-term contract for, it's going to put you behind the 8 ball. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. I'm cool with that.
Nice job.
I agree.
I will allow you to be optimistic at times. I'm just not going to shoot the whole thing down.
And they got the uniforms. Come on.
Uniforms. We'll take a break, come back here and wrap things up live at Ruffino's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Congratulations are in order for one of my favorite places to eat, Snow Seafood and Steaks, celebrating its 50th anniversary.
All right.
I got you. Hold on.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, it's rolling.
This is Charles Hanniger. Join us for the Monday edition of Live at Lunch. We're at Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs. All the NFL teams are in camp. This week, the colleges report football is inching ever closer. Live at Lunch from Big Mike's on Monday at 11, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Get the seared tuna with a sriracha glaze for the perfect blend of sweet and spicy. You can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other. Prepared at different temps if you like. Bone in to maximize flavor. Dozy Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
This is Charles Hanniger for Home Bank. If you're tired of the impersonal, one-size-fits-all style of banking, you deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for your businesses and families because they go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business and good for life. Stop by any South Louisiana, Houston, or Natchez area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC. This is Charles Henniger for Total Maintenance for AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing. Total Maintenance is your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. Service today, every day. That's their slogan at Total Maintenance, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. Over the years, Total Maintenance has expanded into the New Orleans area as well as their offices in Baton Rouge with full staffs in both markets. Call 480-1000 in Baton Rouge or in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge with fresh, delicious, piping hot, personalized pizza with unmatched speed. Whether you're a downtown worker, a family looking for convenience and value, or an out-of-towner staying at one of the nearby hotels, Town Square Pizza is the spot for you. Try a specialty pizza like the Spanish Town Supreme or custom build your own. Family packs, kids' meals, and salads are available as well. It's hip to be square at Town Square Pizza, downtown facing. What else? Town Square.
Do you know what you would do if you were in a car wreck? It's easy to panic when you or someone you care about is hurt in an accident. Who will pay the medical bills? Who will pay the car repair? Who will deal with the insurance companies for you? Protect your rights. You need someone you can trust. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 343-1111. The law offices of O.C. Brown will handle everything for you. 343-1111 or online at ocbrown.com. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
The new location of Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Wesley across from Mike Anderson's. Man, the place looks great. Lots of indoor and outdoor seating options with plenty of big TVs to watch all your favorite games. All of the traditional Mexican cuisine with a great happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30, 7 days a week. Plus $5 margaritas all day, all night on Wednesdays. Great spot to bring the baseball team in between games. Just 5 minutes north of Traction and 5 minutes south of LSU. Los Reyes Mexican Grill, 1072 West Lee, near Nicholson.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Quick trade in Major League Baseball before we wrap things up here. Yankees.
Yankees need infield help, and they just acquired third baseman Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. Colorado received 2 prospects in return. The Yankees have very much struggled, especially defensively in the infield. It's been a rough go of it for Volpe at short. The third baseman has been kind of non-existent. They were going to ask LeMahieu to play there or move there. It just didn't work out. So they've been really struggling at third base. They ended up cutting him. So they've had a hole there. They filled that with Ryan McMahon, who's not a Gold Glover, but has been a Gold Glove finalist, I believe, in the last 4 seasons.
He's got 16 homers, which is second on the Rockies, but the batting average is down at 217. So we'll see. The Restaurant Week menu here at Ruffino's, you get 3 courses for $55. Starters, the crawfish egg rolls, Louisiana crawfish tails, the spicy cabbage blend with the port cherry chili sauce. I got that on the way right now. Teriyaki beef skewers with the sesame glaze, one of your starters as well. Tempura fried cauliflower with the bang bang sauce. Those are your appetizer choices. Entree, the bone-in pork chops with the pineapple salsa. Redfish roulade served with corn makshu, or the braised pork ribs with the fried rice and Asian pickles on the side. Those are your entree features that are available in Restaurant Week. And for dessert, the lemon tiramisu with the soaked lady fingers and cocoa dust. Carrot cake with caramel sauce, also one of your dessert features that is available. Thanks to the folks here at Ruffino's. Again, for the next couple of weeks, we'll be in the auxiliary bar on the left side as they do their renovations. On Monday, we'll be at Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs. From Max Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon from Ruffino's. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live